podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
I'm Gary Birtles, one of the old gits from a long time ago. You've got to tune into Tricky Talks, I believe, so just do it. All the best.
Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robertson do. And still Robertson, getting his shot in, and a goal! Robertson!
Welcome along to the Tricky Talks podcast. As Forest couldn't unwrap a win against the Toffees, we're here to talk about that, the new stadium plans, the World Cup draw, and look forward to the next Europa League tie against Utrecht. The whole gang are here with me today. Fresh from a trip to Merseyside is Molo. Welcome back, sir. Are you okay after the weekend?
Yeah, no, fine. It was always going to be a tough game, and so it proved probably a bit tougher than we'd hoped for, but there we go. We go again, don't we?
I hope you didn't wear your shirt and tie that you're wearing today on your trip to Merseyside.
I just thought I'd better dress up tonight, we've got the whole gang back, as you say, so I thought I'd look the part.
Yep. Kate, here, you made it back in one piece too?
Yeah. Honestly, all the trouble I went to get tickets for that. Goodness me.
And luckily, Chelsea is here as well, but didn't see much of the game, fortunately enough, but did see the highlights. So how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I've heard it was a good game to miss, I heard.
Yeah, let's get back in. We'll get into that in a second. But first of all, let's talk about a couple of bits of news. The new stadium plans were released to the general public last week in an exhibition that everybody who was able to go and see the plans and see the models. I've certainly seen them online. Molo, Kate, did either of you have a chance to pop down and take a look at that? What was going on and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I went down just after work. It just fell right. I had to pop into West Bridgford on Friday. Just had to pop in, so I thought I'm going to have a look. And I mean, they're incredible. And if it all comes off, obviously they've got to jump through the hoops. Probably the highlight was talking to the project managers and whatnot that were there presenting it all, and they were happy to talk to anyone, answer questions. And the real interesting thing, I said to them, what is the capacity going to be at its lowest point during the build? And they said the plan is it should never drop below 31,000 because if they're going to do the whole build from the back. So they said obviously you have to rehouse people at different times. But if we can pull it off, and if all the NIMBYs in Lady Bay and West Bridgford bought a house near a football ground that's been there longer than they've been alive, don't complain, and it comes off by 7 years' time, in theory, we could have one of the, by far the best stadium in the East Midlands already by then, and probably the Midlands. It'd be incredible, and it would allow the club to grow, because although I keep hearing, we'll go to it another time, that the people won't fill it, but there's a generation of kids waiting for season tickets who were perhaps 6 or 7 last time they were available. So it's very... Oh, no. I should have said 7 or 6. But yeah. It really excited me, I went there to have a nosy just because I was nearby, but I didn't expect to be blown away, and I was, and that says a lot, doesn't it? It's the whole thing. It just looks incredible. So really exciting times.
It certainly looked amazing from what we could see online, and Kate, it's the inside of the stadium. We've got a little bit of a sneak preview of what the new Peter Taylor stand would look like and how it integrates with a Trent End, which looks unrecognisable, even though they're not in theory demolishing it. They're sort of going to build around it. But what did you make of the inside view of the stadium? It was difficult to get a sense of perspective in terms of just how big that Peter Taylor stand is going to be from plans only, but it looks amazing.
It does. I mean, as somebody that's sat there for many years, the main thing we want is hot water in the toilets. So it absolutely comes above and beyond everything that we requested when you look at those plans. And it does make for a completely different matchday experience, potentially, when you look at what that could be the thing that you're going to week in, week out. And it just looks so impressive and so comfortable and
touristy.
Well, yes, and I think there has to be an acceptance that there is going to be more of that if we expand to the second level of plans that they've got in place. It is inevitable, but I would like to think by doing so where we are and keeping our ground on the Trent and keeping our Peter Taylor stand and our Brian Clough stand and our Trent End, that it will remain the our church, at the place that we go, the place that we love, and yeah, I hope that it won't become a soulless bowl. Not wishing to use that phrase, but no, I didn't get down to see it. I didn't have time, but I have had a good look online, and it does look incredible. Really does.
I looked at the finer detail, Chelsea, and some of the things they've thought of everything, like putting 2 real trees on the back of the new Peter Taylor stand, either side of the logo, with greenery all around the outside, plenty of glass, so there's plenty of light being shone in as well. And also on the inside, I looked to see where the TV gantry was in relation to how high it's going to be, because it's been at that level currently since they've been in the City Ground, basically, in that format, and looked as though the TV gantry was of a similar height to the highest point of the Trent End, roughly. So we're going to have to get used to a new TV angle, potentially. But any particular thoughts or any of opinions, Chelsea, when you saw the plans?
I was one of those people that when I look, it looks incredible. It looks absolutely amazing. It's very sleek. It's just, I did look at it and I was just like, wow, okay. But there is this part of me that I love an older ground. I absolutely, the history, the soul, everything that is in an older stadium, I absolutely love. And I think my fear and my worry is that it just becomes soulless. But like you said, with putting like the 2 real trees out and, the pictures and everything, like it's just all them little touches that can still keep our history there. I think that for me is what I need still to have at the City Ground. And I hope that it does still continue in that way and doesn't become, it looks amazing, but where is the soul? Where's it all gone, like you have seen in other stadiums? But fingers crossed Forest can do it right.
Yeah, one thing I did notice as well, they're planning to stick another tier on the Brian Clough stand as well to make that even taller, and it would dwarf the Bridgeford stand in comparison, wouldn't it, if there's no planned works going on there anymore. So, and given the fact that, like you say, Mollo, the capacity is going to be reduced no lower than 31,000, and having also been to Anfield, who have got a similar structure or designed at least by the same architects. When you sat at that end at Anfield, do you feel the atmosphere? Does the stand, for example, does the sound bounce off the roof? Is the atmosphere contained within the stand? Can we expect something similar, do you think?
It all depends on your support, doesn't it? Because the Anfield version that they built over the Anfield Road, which was 1 tier into 2, ours is obviously going 2 into 3. And by the way, I don't know if it came across, because obviously they're big old pictures when you go to the display. The whole of the Brian Clough, Trent End and main stuff, like Peter Taylor, they'll all be on the same level. The roof will be on the same level. So you're right, it'll be a bit like that Aviva Stadium in Dublin, a little bit. But I keep saying to myself, well, if our Bridgeford end is our smallest end for the next 20 years, can't really complain. But the thing about Anfield is, and get slaughtered for this by Liverpool fans, it has no atmosphere, and in that away end, the bit above us, which is brand new, is literally full of tourists. So it's almost like, and we're talking to Liverpool fans before, and they say, oh yeah, the new Anfield, the new Annie Road, it's just, that's where they put all the people for paying the big money for the touristy things. I think what's got to happen, and I'm going to say a terrible thing, Kate used a phrase I absolutely hate, and there's two I hate about modern football. One is the razzmatazz, the Americanisation, and the other is match day experience, because that's modern football, unfortunately. And I'm a dinosaur. I want to go down there's got to be an edge and a great atmosphere, and people aren't going to cry about certain chants and all this sort of thing. Not obviously inappropriate chants, but if there's a few rude words dotted around, and there's a bit of rivalry inside the ground. I love all that. And that's dying, isn't it? That doesn't happen much in the Premier League, apart from when you play your local rivals, or Anfield at night times is supposed to be different to what it is. The last 4 times we've been there, To be fair, the away end's been fine, and it has. The acoustics have been fine in the away end, especially the last 2 seasons. But, dinosaurs like me and the generation above me that are still going strong, we've got to get used to it, haven't we? Going to football, and what matters is the catering and the hot water and all that sort of thing. And atmosphere is secondary, isn't it? We had that for the first 2 years in the Premier League and our last year in the Championship, and it's pretty much died now in most parts of the ground now. That's kind of the way it's gone at the moment, partly because the football's not great either. So, and, I don't want to use the E word, because that upsets people. It's just the way it is. If we're going to move with the times and compete, and we want to continue these European tours, not that my bank balance will take one every season like this, then I guess that's what we've got to do, because we had the perfect look, didn't we, on Saturday? And as much as it's in the weirdest place ever, and it's the worst walk, and it's an absolute dive, the Everton Stadium itself, and weirdly, the concourses are too cramped and rubbish. Yeah, the actual stadium itself inside was the best view I've ever had at an away end for years. And I was on row 5, so normally I'd be expecting to sort of be somebody's head there, because I'm not the tallest, as you know. But I had a great view, and the guy in front of me was normal height. It wasn't a dwarf or anything. So, and at times their atmosphere was actually okay.
It was.
But as you'd expect when it was 3-0. There was a bit of needle. That was the usual poverty chanting stuff that always seems to upset people. I'm not saying I agree with it. I didn't join in, but we've been out of it for a long time. It's progress. I'm just getting left behind, if I'm being honest. I still love a good atmosphere. I'd still hark back to the old Trent End, don't I, in a sense, the happy days in the middle of the Trent End, standing up and A block, and then that's going to be gone soon, isn't it? So I guess it's just the way football is. Go somewhere like Spurs or Everton or wherever, all these posh new stadiums with their facilities, and the sacrifice is the atmosphere, and that's just the way it is, I suppose.
See, I think that I have to say, this is where I've got my women's hat on here. So there are more women attending football games now than there were before, and that's a really positive thing. Now, where I sit, there are 2 female toilets, one of which that flushes, one of which that doesn't. Okay? And as previously mentioned, no hot water, and you can't drink the water. Not that you would, but you queue out the door, and you know that if you are going to go to the toilet during the game, you can't go at half time, because you're going to miss some of the match, because the facilities that they have provided for the women are so poor. And they are. And that is probably because when it was built, 2 toilets was enough. It was enough there weren't that many women there. But there are now. So I use the word match day experience. That's the kind of thing I'm referring to. I don't think that's a huge ask. It has been catered for. I don't need fancy food, fancy drink. Again, I would maybe like to queue a little bit less, but that is all part of going to football, isn't it? But things like that I do think do need addressing and have been addressed, and will enhance my match day experience. Sorry, Mollo.
No, I get being able to go to the loo. I'm not for a minute suggesting that's as you know, I go with Ellie, so she has that situation. She's always having to know you're going to. Which, mind you, to be honest, the men's aren't much better. If we're being honest, the only difference is we just got a nice long trough so we can all squeeze in and what have you. But yeah, that side of it, of course, is going to be better. Well, or is it? Everton's toilets were shocking. The queue for the men's was terrible. So I dread to think what the ladies were like. If I don't want to start asking about if you went to a toilet, that's wrong. But
all right, let's move the
sorry. Let's not talk about toilets.
We'll move the conversation on away from toilets. Chelsea, you were going to chip in.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say that all Kate wants to do is just be able to go to the toilet, and that is literally all she wants to be able to do.
That's fair. That is a fair ask in a hospitality sector, as it now is, entertainment sector, or lack of entertainment sector.
Tentative plans to begin in the summer of 2026, Mollo, if all goes well and all planning permission is granted as expected. Is that what you'd heard? Is it so? Not next summer then?
No, 2027. The guy said, the chief architect guy, because they've got to try and get through the council, which I can't imagine there'll be massive problems because they've taken out the block of flats, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
and the cost, that's what's blown me away. And we know these costs never stay the same. At the moment, 800 million.
It's going to escalate, isn't it? It's going to get higher, you would imagine.
The
and
big man, wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
If only we were his friend.
Cool.
Okay, we'll wait and see what happens there in the coming months. Let's move on to the World Cup draw, shall we? England drawn against Croatia, Ghana and Panama in the first group stage of the next summer's World Cup. Any thoughts on that, Chelsea? Clearly, England should progress from the group. I would be very surprised if they don't, but any thoughts on the opponents and the locations? I think they're going to be playing in Dallas, New Jersey and Boston, I believe.
Very nice. I mean, as draws go, you think, brilliant. We'll absolutely fly through that. But out of the whole World Cup draw, I think my favourite thing will be to see is Scotland play Brazil.
Again.
Scotland lose to Brazil.
Lose to Brazil, I should say. I just think, I love the World Cup anyway, but just having Scotland in there as well. I mean, I know Mollo's not a fan, but we'll just keep that bit quiet. But I mean...
local banter.
As draws go, it couldn't have got much better, really. So you would like to think that we will fly through that, but you never know. Someone could be a bit of a dark horse and pull a bit of a wild card on us.
You never know. Just to give you a bit of background, guys, on the stadiums that England are going to be playing in. The one in Dallas can hold up to 100,000 with a few extensions put in, which I'm sure they'll do. And that roof is going to be closed in that AT&T Stadium. So it'll be an air-conditioned game for England. I think Texas is one of the regions that they're showing really concerned about the temperatures in the middle of the summer. So when England play that game against Croatia, I believe that'll be in an air-conditioned stadium, so that won't be so bad. And it'll be a late kick-off at 9 p.m. as well, I believe. The second game against Ghana in Boston, I believe, is an outdoor stadium with at least one open end, I think. So the wind might be a factor in that stadium. And then the third one is in New York's MetLife Stadium, which is also hosting the final, and that is a huge stadium. And obviously they're going to be using proper grass in that stadium at the moment. For American football, they tend to use the semi-artificial turf, and it's got a really bad reputation for the quality of the field, but thankfully they're going to be replacing it with proper grass for the World Cup next year. So, and obviously it hosted the Club World Cup final that Chelsea won last summer. So there are just a few little insights into at least the stadiums that England are playing in the group stages, and they've got a mouth-watering prospect of potentially playing against Brazil in the quarterfinals in Miami as well. So again, another hot stadium, really, really good stadium. Obviously, as you know, I go there quite a lot to watch the Dolphins play, so that'll be something special if they can play Brazil in Miami. Okay, any thoughts, Kate, Mollo, on the draw?
Cost. I priced it up today. On my first price per person for two of us. Have a guess how much?
Oh, thousands.
7,500 roughly. 7, 8, I think it was.
No.
I know.
I think you need Ellie to bag another.
Directly to Donald Trump, or do you actually have to go with it?
Yeah, get Ellie to bag another freebie.
I was going to say, get Ellie to bag another freebie. Yeah,
if only. But yeah, I couldn't believe the cost.
Wow.
Wow. Like, in my head, I thought, it cost this to fly to America and back would be a bit more. Hotels would be premium. Obviously, tickets aren't going to be cheap. When I saw that was just for the first round, for the first 3 games.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know.
Yeah, tickets are very, very expensive, and I don't know whether you heard, but FIFA are operating their own resale site for the World Cup, where previously they had capped ticket prices at face value, but next summer they are not, and it will be dynamic pricing, and they are also going to be taking a 30% cut on the cost of the ticket as well. So a very expensive trip. But if you can get to it, then great. It should be a great World Cup to go to.
7.5 grand I won't, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Any plans to go, Kate? You're going to fly with your kids to the States and take in a few games?
No.
We'll leave it at that.
A long way to go and watch Ando, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, talking of Ando then, let's get on to the Everton game. We're already 20 minutes in, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about Everton because there isn't too much to say. if I'm honest with you. Deitch was quoted and said the team were nowhere near it. Mistakes were costly. They lacked energy. They lacked ideas. Pretty much a really bad day at the office all round. Your thoughts, Kate, on that? Obviously, you were there firsthand to see it. Did you leave early, for instance? And if so, why? And
I had a conversation with an Everton fan, a perfectly friendly conversation with an Everton fan before I went into the game. And he said, we're going to beat you today. And I was like, maybe a draw. And he said, this is why we're going to beat you. He said, Dyche is going to play long ball. We're going to destroy you in midfield. And we're going to beat you by more than one. There were more details to what he said. And when I got in there and I watched that game, I thought, ooh, okay, that's a bit of a worry. It was just not very good. I don't know how many other ways you can put it. We weren't very good. I've seen the stuff on, yes, the ball hit the referee. It did. Yes, potentially Tarkowski could have been sent off, should have been sent off. I mean, there's an argument for it. Would it have made any difference if they had a player less than us? I actually don't think it would. I think it was clear from, the first goal, which was in the first couple of minutes, wasn't it, that we would get nothing out of that game. And only point where I thought we might be starting to build our way back into it and actually coming up with something that was more than, like we said before, just bluster, was right before they scored that second goal. And once that second goal went in, it was just like, oh, goodness. We knew we weren't getting anything. And
no matter what's on your plate or your mind this holiday season, the UPS Store wants to help. With our pack and ship guarantee, we're helping gifts arrive safely to guarantee more.
They know me so well. Picture perfect gifts.
We're helping guarantee more smiles with our pack and ship guarantee. If we pack it and ship it, we guarantee it. Your items arrive safe or your money back. Stop by your local The UPS Store for holiday help, shipping holiday gifts. Visit theupsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details.
We spoke a little bit after Wolves about needing to perform better and what would happen if we played a better team and didn't perform better. That's what happens when you play a better team and you don't perform better. And I'm saying that and weren't brilliant. I mean, their fans were absolutely loving life as we were walking out. Quite right too, because they'd just beaten us 3-0. But they weren't brilliant. We're going to play better teams than that. And Anderson, he was okay. Zach Abbott, when he came on, put in a reasonable shift. But beyond that, it's a worry.
I know you've seen the goals, Chelsea, and all of which I think could have been avoided to a certain extent. You had the Milenkovic own goal in the first minute or two, which he should have done better with. Morato got beaten again, and that was just bad defending, which left a 3-on-1. Yes, it did come off the ref, as Kate said, but I don't think it would have made any difference to the way Morato handled that situation. And then again for the corner on the third goal, Sells tried to punch it away but didn't really get a significant enough punch on it. So all of those goals could have been avoided, Chelsea, couldn't they? And you take those away, I don't think there was too much in the way of quality between the two teams, because Everton simply had more energy and more ideas. They didn't create a huge number of chances other than the goals, from what I can recall.
Yeah, I was at work and I came home to a very angry dad who was sitting on the sofa, not looking his best. And I'd got the notifications through on my phone, so I knew what I was walking into, obviously feeling that same way myself. And I just said, I know the score, but how did we perform? And I got overrun, especially in midfield. Sloppy, lacked doing the basics well. Didn't deserve to win it at all. Everton were all over us. Put the bleeps of swear words wherever you like in what I've just said. And I've seen the goals. First goal, Milenkovic did seem to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, but I don't think he just wasn't very alert, to be honest. That's how I just see that goal. A second, I know Milenkovic is good, but he's not that good when he's got 3 on him from catching us on the break. And God, did that just show to all of us how much we are missing Murillo in that second goal. I mean, if that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does. And the third goal, it just seemed sloppy. it's just a poor goal to give away, and one that could have been prevented and should have been prevented. And it just felt like everyone's eye was off the ball in that moment. And I don't know whether it was because maybe if the other two if they hadn't gone in, maybe it would have been different in that moment. But overall, a really bad day at the office, and it just seems to be continuing. I know we've said that a couple of times on pods recently. Bad day at the office, and seems to now be a bad week at the office at the moment.
That's what I was going to say to Molo, actually. I saw Dawes after-match videos, and which were obviously very raw and emotional in the subsequent aftermath of a 3-0 loss. And then on his show last night, it was titled, I think, Are Forest in Big Trouble? Is that a fair reflection of where they are at the moment, do you think? Or is it... Do you have to look prior to that? They'd won 4 of the last 5 and it was one bad game, or is it somewhere in between? What are your thoughts there?
It's somewhere in between, isn't it? In that when Sean Dyche came in, if you'd have said by the time we played Everton we were out of the bottom 3, initially at that point clear of the bottom 3, you'd have been very, very happy, wouldn't you? Because we were in deep, deep trouble. What we've got now is a really good fighting chance, but there's key elements missing, and I think Kate said it. Kate, generally speaking, yes, goals win games, and how you play in the penalty area matters the most at either end, but the midfield is where you win and lose games, isn't it? And we had the best midfielder on the park, but unfortunately you can't play against 3 players, can you? I mean, he wasn't as good as he can be, but you still wouldn't have swapped him for any of their midfield. I mean, they made a reasonable player who is getting better, to be fair. Idiot from Leicester, who was born in Nottingham, by the way. Look better than he really is. But you can't play with one man in midfield if the other one's having a day. And to get pulled off at half time as a centre midfielder, he's lucky it wasn't earlier. And then Yatesy comes on and unfortunately makes a cracking tackle, and it looked like his hamstring, I don't know yet. And then, it's time for him to step up now, isn't it? He's been injured. Dominguez is now going to get a run, I would imagine, in his favoured position. I really hope he is, starting very soon. And we know what a good player Dominguez is, so this could be his time. And people have said it already, it's all about that centre-half. I don't mean Morato, and I'm not blaming him. I thought at the time I was the second goal, but having seen it back, that subtle change of pace and trajectory did him and flat-footed him, and for the ref to say it didn't hit his feet and not even go back, and that didn't cost us. Of course it cost us, because actually Kate's right, we were getting back into the game, weren't we, at that point? But I'm not saying it would have cost us the game because we were garbage, but how can VAR, I'm going off at a tangent here, look at offsides from 2 phases earlier? If the ball went out of play for a throw-in or a corner when a goal goes straight in, or if a foul happens and yet the ball hits the ref from the guy who runs through and gets the assist, is insane. But we're somewhere in between, aren't we? We need to just keep grinding out points. We're on a point a game at the moment, aren't we? So we're not far off staying up. We're not far off staying up pace. If we play like that, we're down. But of course, sure, Dyche isn't going to allow that to happen. But we need Murillo back massively.
I'll spare you Molo's moment unless you really want to this week, because I'm conscious of time. Oh, was there? Is it a quick one?
Yeah.
Okay,
it didn't
go
affect the
ahead.
game whatsoever.
Go on then.
But it was Dominguez flying into a proper old school tackle in midfield, because it was the first tackle we'd seen that, other than Anderson, in midfield all game. Setting on fair than Yatesy getting injured making a tackle. That tackle, I don't know if you remember it, he just flew in. And if it had gone wrong, he was getting a red card, but by then he didn't care, did he? You could take the boy out of Argentina and all that, but it turned into a great tackle. That was it. That was the highlight of the game.
Okay, very quickly, in a word, Kate, is there somebody you would like to give some credit for in terms of a man of the match award in inverted commas?
For me, it has to be Anderson. He was the only one that I feel really showed up. And like Molo says, he was overrun, so he wasn't at his best. But then I do think they targeted him. I think they knew that he was going to be the best player on the pitch, and he was constantly battling more than one player, which gave him very little chance. And they were hacking at him. They were hacking at him. Yeah. So, but he stood up, he kept going, and he was our best hope. So Anderson for me. Yeah,
Molo.
Anderson. Everton fans after the game were saying what a class player he is. Some of those idiots online saying they got outplayed by KDH and Jimmy Jimmy Gardner, who played really well. I'd love to have him back. 12 million we let him go for. Didn't pay for him and spent 30 million on someone else instead. Anyway, but Anderson by an absolute mile.
Okay, and Chelsea, your man of the match, and if you want to follow that up with your FPL update as well, please go ahead.
From my reliable source, I've been told for man of the match, I have got to say Anderson. Yeah, so by the sounds of things with my dad, he, again, best, I'd hate the term best out of a bad bunch, but, you know, best of what we had on the pitch for that day. Yes.
Yeah, likewise. Okay. Go on then,
So,
FPL update this week before you have to disappear.
So, FPL update. We all didn't have a great week, people. Again. I know, see Simon shaking his head. I know, but again, just we're all in the same bit here. But obviously there is still a game to play. We all have players. All three of us have Mbeumo. Simon, you've got Fernandes as well playing. So you never know.
And Mbeumo as well.
Yeah, hat-tricks could happen, people. You never know. So Molo, you're down to 6th place with 37 points. Simon, you're down to 13th. So far, Simon, you've got 21 points. But it's okay. Still 2 players to play. You never know. You never know. And then me, I'm down to 15th with 37 points. I had Murillo still in because I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. So Gravenberch will come in. So that'd be an extra 5 points for me. Ooh, great. And then Kate, you're down to, I don't want to say it, 24th place. But you got 51 points though.
I know. I didn't do so bad this week, and I've still got Mbeumo to play.
I'll just say I had Tarkowski at the back, and he was probably my biggest point scorer. And I know it's a big talking point, but if you get sent off for that, then the game really has gone. But then we know that already.
Well, if I hadn't have put Foden in, who got me 12, you can imagine what I would have been on. I'm on 37 points, so I can't even imagine what I would have been on. But
I think we need to do a public service announcement when I captain Haaland, so that everybody else knows not to do it that week. Yeah.
Me too, Kate.
That's
That's me and
something
you.
that we could do for people.
Yeah,
Tarkowski was my top scoring player. Brilliant.
Actually, my top scoring player, I think, was Van der Ven, Chelsea, and he's got 6 points, and he's currently on the bench. But he will come he will come in because Munoz didn't play for Palace, so Van der Ven will come in and get me an extra 6.
That's all right then. That's all right.
Did Calafiori get sent off?
No, he was. He got booked, so he's suspended for the next game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I
Anything
do want
else
to just
to
say
add,
as
Chelsea?
well, we have a new leader and a new, I don't want to say loser, but person at the bottom. So the
Loser.
person at the bottom, loser. Oh, I know why you're saying loser. David Myers.
Oh.
So, relation to you, Simon?
Yeah, he's my brother.
Bless him, dear. And I love how he goes, no, it's loser.
I didn't honestly know he was bottom, to be fair,
Yeah,
but I'm going
okay.
to tell him now.
And then all the way at the top, we have a new leader, Jack Harrell, who is my cousin. So, and he's got 917 points overall. I have, but anyway, but we'll skip past him because he'll just rub it in my face anyway. And I do want to say as well, everybody remember, you've all now got 5 free transfers because of AFCON.
Oh, yeah.
As well, so pick them wisely. And AFCON, I believe, begins, is that the 21st of December, I think? I believe so.
Yeah, I think so.
And
Shame it's not sooner.
Well, exactly. But I had a look.
I know why he said that, yeah.
Oh, why?
Because Sangare, he wants him out of the team.
I want my 5 transfers. Transfers.
And I had a little look. The top players that are going to AFCON, Mbeumo, Salah and Wissa, they're just to name 3 of them. So do your research first before you're doing your transfers. Actually, no, don't do your research because then that might give me a chance.
Yeah, you don't have to use all 5 transfers this week. You can use as many or as few as you want, and they will carry over into the subsequent weeks if you don't use them. But
do we know if Ola Aina's going to be available for Nigeria?
They did say that he was going, but don't know whether he's available. So
that could be his pre-season for come back fit, couldn't it? With a bit of luck.
Yeah,
and it will keep him out of doing silly little YouTube videos as social media videos as well. So we won't talk about that. But
no.
Thanks for that, Chelsea.
Worse than dancing on the train.
Okay, let's look forward to Utrecht, who we play in the Europa League this coming Thursday. They're currently world ranked 179th. Their European rank is 131st, and they're currently ranked 6th in the Netherlands. In the league this year, they're currently in 7th place, having played 15, won 6, drawn 4, lost 5, scored 26, conceded 20. They've not won in their last 4. But prior to that, they beat Ajax 2-1 and they drew 1-1 with Porto in the Europa League. And in that Europa League, they're currently in second spot, having played 5, won none, drawn 1, lost 4, scored only 2 goals, conceded 7 with 1 point. Their results today are a 1-0 loss at home to Lyon, 1-0 loss away at Brann, a 2-0 loss away at Freiburg. They drew with the aforementioned Porto 1-1 at home, and they lost 2-1 away at Betis. So, your early thoughts, who do you think, guys, should start given the quality of the opposition this week? It seems to be very similar in terms of levels to Malmo, however, Forest are away and not at home. That's the big difference this time. We'll start with you, Chelsea, I know you've got to dash to work soon, so we'll give you an opportunity to give your thoughts on Utrecht.
Just best team out. That's just all I can say to every game. You know, I get about resting players and I fully appreciate it. But best team. That's my belief with games, regardless whether they're Europa or whether they're in the Premier League. People who need to be there. And I don't know, with how we are in the league, I don't know how the Europa is going to play out. I was just having a little look at the table. We're 16th at the moment. Who knows what we're going to play like. I'm just nervous for games at the minute. It's just, for me, I know it's the result, but the performance for me is everything. I don't care if we lose like 2-0. If we show a better performance with just the passion that we usually play and the confidence that we can do, then obviously it does matter. But to me, I know that we've gave our 100%. So I really don't know about the game. I'm really struggling to even predict the game, to be honest. I did want to put that we would win 2-1, but now in my head I'm going, would we settle for a draw? And I don't want to think like that.
I think it's is it an opportunity to right the wrongs of the weekend, or do you look at it as an opportunity for players to get some rest?
It's a really interesting question, isn't it? Because there are arguments for both of those scenarios. And I don't anticipate that we will see the same starting 11 that started against Everton and Wolves start against Utrecht. I don't think we will. I feel strongly that I would like Jesus to start, because I think he needs to score some goals. He needs to score some goals and get that confidence, and this is a potential opportunity for him to do that on the European stage. I don't know if he will. I would like to see that. Morgan, I'm not sure, because we keep hearing this thing about his back niggling, and I have to say that Tottenham is looming very, very large for me at the weekend. I have a real thing about Spurs, and I don't want to get proper beat in that game. But I do, like Chelsea said, I think best team available. I think a win would be great for fan morale as much as anything else, because we do need a bit of that at the moment. You know, clearly we do. We've spoken about atmosphere. The away end was very, very light on people by the time the Everton game finished, which, you know, multiple reasons why people may have left, but it's not something that you like to see. I'm not saying people were right or wrong. I'm just saying it's not something that you like to see. This is a long old way. You know, it felt like a long way coming back from Everton, never mind coming back from the Netherlands. So I'd play Murillo if he's fit, because he hasn't played for a little while. You know, if he's feeling a little bit better, then I would get him out on the pitch, and that would not only help our team, but it would also help to quell some nasty rumours that are starting to circle around the reasons why he isn't playing. So
definitely not ill.
Well, I think we go as strong as we can.
The incentive is there, isn't it, Mollo, for the team to get a win, because if they can do that, it puts them within touching distance of qualification for the next phase in some form. So it's important that they put out a good enough team to go and try that and get that win. What would you be looking at in terms of a team selection?
I've just been trying to write down a team to get an idea, and obviously going to change the keeper and what's his name's not available. But I suspect he'll play Callum Mwendo somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bakwa, because he's been out, he's played for the 21s. That could add, hopefully, something. My concern is, who the heck plays in the centre midfield? I definitely would play Dominguez. European games tend to suit the aforementioned Sangare if he went off because he was crap rather than because he was injured. So I'd probably go Dominguez and him in the middle of midfield. I think McAtee's earned a game there as well, because, like you said, probably not going to play Gibbs White at the minute. I thought McAtee's recent performances were starting to see flashes of what he could be all about, because he's got an incredible first touch, hasn't he? I don't know if you've noticed, his first touch is almost always exemplary. And then obviously the rest isn't always quite as good, but to be fair, he's doing okay. It's that centre forward spot, isn't it? You worry for goals if we get the Callum Mwendo that we had in Graz, or to get the Callum Mwendo we had against Malmo, who got a goal and was a bit livelier. I'd certainly be looking at probably Cunha, Bolly, or one of the centre halves. We've got to give Milenkovic a breather. The left back situation is the problem, isn't it? We have no fit left backs other than Nico. And as much as an absolute trooper as he is, and he was one that actually, he wasn't his usual self on Saturday, but he wasn't horrendous by any means. He was okay. So I'd make the changes that suit not just resting players, but getting players ready that are going to have to do a job over the next few weeks. Like Dominguez is ready, isn't he now? He was 100% on Saturday when he came on, and that's really good news, because he could do the job in the middle. We know he's a very good player. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gibbs White playing centre mid over the next few weeks. So who knows what's going to happen on Thursday. Undoy maybe, because he seems to be not playing brilliantly, so he needs to play his way back into form, doesn't he?
No.
See, I'd differ there. I'd say Callum Hudson-Odoi instead for this game.
I've got him on the other wing at the minute.
Hudson-Odoi
and Doy as my two wingers, maybe, unless Backward does play. But no, Hudson-Odoi ahead of Undoy normally 100%. But I still think, and I could be horribly wrong on recent showings, but I still think we're going to be looking at Undoy in a year's time and saying, what a player. Do you remember what he was like when we first signed him? Because he showed one flash again of how quick he is, and that was it in the game. He's like, show us more often how quick you are, because pace scares people, and he's got it. And I just want to see him use it more, but hopefully that'll come. But yeah, it's a tricky one, because when you look at the players we can still put out, it makes you see, and it is only on paper, obviously, we do have this big squad. And Everton fans were saying afterwards, oh, you'll be all right, you won't go down. You're always going to get the backlash of our last game because we were terrible against Newcastle. That was my fear. I think I said it last week, didn't I? No way David Moyes will let them do that again. They were like, oh, you'll be fine. Yeah, they were relatively complimentary, as it's easy to be. Apart from one guy, when I was walking into the town with Henry, just me and Henry, and he goes, what time do you leave, La? I went, huh? What time do you get out to get here? I went, about 2 minutes after the final whistle, and clapped the players and what have you. And walked off. So what was that about?
See, for me, I'd like to see Callum Hudson-Odoi play, as I said, because you're not going to have Hutchinson in this game for obvious reasons. You've got Dan and Doy, who's not in form at the minute. You need somebody who's going to provide that creativity, which is why I'd have Hudson-Odoi, and particularly as he didn't play the whole 90 against Everton. So that's one thing I would look for. And you're right, Kate Wood. Sorry, Jesus up front, in the absence of any other legitimate goal threat at the minute, because Wood's obviously injured. He's injured. Callum Mwendo scored against Malmo, but isn't exactly getting the minutes or the form. So if you're looking for somebody to stick the ball in the net, you can't look any further than Jesus, really.
It's difficult because Dyche is going to be very much under the microscope for what team he does pick. And I honestly don't know what way he'll go. I can't predict it. I can only say that I do think there are players that potentially won't travel. I hope we can come up with a good team. I think we need it. I just think we need a good night on Thursday.
Okay, score prediction then, Kate.
2.
Okay, Mollo.
0-0.
Okay, you're going all that way to see a boring 0-0.
Here's something that will cheer you up quickly before you do yours, Simon. So when we were travelling back from Everton, my 10-year-old quoted you in the car. So we were talking about cells, obviously, and the corner, and he went, your mate Mollo on the podcast when he said he's got Weetabix hands. That's what happened for that goal.
Weetabix wrists, but yeah.
I still thought that was very cute.
That's brilliant.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
He's doing well to listen.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 Forest win. I think they need to show their quality, and I think they will, albeit just a 1-0 victory. Right. Anything further on Utrecht before we move on to any other business?
So I think it's interesting looking at the supporters guide. I don't know if you've seen it. So we are only allowed in the designated fan zone, and that will close before we have time to get out of the ground and back to it. We have to collect our tickets from there, and we are on mandatory buses from the fan zone to the ground, where you will have a ticket and a wristband. Okay? You can't walk, you can't get a taxi, you cannot drive. You have to go on these mandatory buses. And then when we've finished, the mandatory buses take you to Utrecht's main station. And that is the only place that you can get off, and supposedly the only way that you can leave. So those, for me, I'm staying in Amsterdam, that's fine, I hop on a train back to Amsterdam. But for those that are staying in Utrecht, they've got to go via the station. So I think it's going to be quite hardcore out there.
They've changed it in the last couple of hours. They're putting a list, it's bizarre, it's like a register. They're putting a list of names together of people staying in Utrecht. If you contact, I think they're doing it via Forza Garibaldi. It's bizarre because that's how people get picked off by their crazy folk, because they've got a real problem in Holland at the moment. They're like, not like us in the 1970s and 80s, because that was a different level, but they're kind of like that. They're trying to be like that, and it's not good at all. But so I'm going back to Amsterdam anyway, but it's ridiculous. What's going to happen to Forest fans? And there will be some, and I'm not going to name names, that have got tickets in the Utrecht end. They won't need a wristband, will they?
Interesting, right.
And I spoke to Simon, was it Simon Travell or was it somebody else? I'm trying to think now, was saying they're expecting more fans without tickets there than have actually got tickets now from what the information they've been given. So the fan zone will be mega, to be fair. That's where Ellie and Henry will be, unless we magic up some tickets in the meantime.
Right, safe travels to you guys and everybody else that's travelling over to Utrecht this coming Thursday. Any other business, Kate?
Not from me, no. Just let's get behind them like we always do. Let's cut the negativity on social media, the anti-Daesh stuff, the questioning each other's loyalty and supporting, and let's just get behind that team. Let's go and have another great European day, and then please God smash Tottenham at the weekend.
Mollo, can you add to that?
I don't think you can beat that. I'm going to go smash Utrecht and Tottenham, but I'm
greedy.
Why not?
Okay, last thing from me is the FA Cup Round 3 draw is coming up very shortly as we record this. Forest are ball number 28, but who do you guys want in the draw? Anybody?
Away. Come on.
So I'm not about the guaranteed win. I actually want Stags at home so that they can bring 6,000-7,000 fans, get a load of money in their coffers, and a great day for Nottinghamshire football.
All right, that's it from us this week. We shall be back later on with a review of the Utrecht game, and depending on when we record, maybe before or after Spurs, we're not sure. But thanks for listening, and bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.